Welcome to episode 2 of Controlled Substance. And in this video, I want to share with you a story of why we decided to ice and put a pause on TikTok Shop and what it taught me about opportunities as a trap. And I see this a lot among founders, especially in the e-commerce space. New trends, there's new things, new opportunities, new platforms, whatever. And it's so easy to chase those new opportunities. And especially when things feel like they're stagnating, especially when you feel like you're not moving fast enough or as fast as you'd like to move forward to your goal. So that was the time where TikTok Shop just got started. And on Twitter, you could see people sharing screenshots of millions made in 4 hours and that brand launched and that product. And I was like, hey, our product is a great fit for TikTok Shop. If you're not familiar with our product, we sell sleep supplements, the hot cocoa that you drink before bed, and it knocks you out. So it can go really viral on TikTok Shop. There's many angles that we can take. There's many creator content that can be created, can go really viral. So it made sense that a lot of my decision-making was coming from a few emotional triggers. So the first one was the FOMO. Everyone's talking about it. You see 18-year-old kids making millions on TikTok Shop in a week. Like, I want to be there. The second thing is that our brains are naturally drawn to novelty. TikTok Shop felt exciting. It felt like something new. You wanted to start something new, to learn about it. And nobody actually knew anything about TikTok Shop. You had these success stories. You had also fake success stories, but nobody had a track record of saying, hey, here's how I built my brand. And here's how I grew it as fast. And here is the framework that you can repeat. So it was exciting learning about it. And the third piece that was that our Amazon sales were kind of stagnating. So we are a Shopify first brand, but our secondary channel is Amazon. And we grew it at a time from 2 to 3K a month, then all the way to 10K, but it was kind of stagnating on 10K. And I felt that we have done everything that we could on Amazon. Like, I just got it done. We optimized the listing, we collected more reviews, it drove more sales, but that's about it. There's no more room to grow, or the growth should come from outside. So in this case, TikTok Shop as the new opportunity. But what I failed to remember was that every new opportunity comes at a cost of attention and time and resources and a learning curve. Even if you see other people, especially if you see other people sharing millions made in 2 days, that's where you want to question it and say, okay, is it really something that I can replicate? And again, there was no real framework at a time of how to launch and scale on TikTok Shop. By the way, I don't think there is right now because it's so wild. So we put up a listing on TikTok Shop. We collected reviews, we optimized, we worked with creators, we created some content, and it felt really fun and exciting. Obviously, it was just getting started, but then 2 things happened. One, we didn't get the fast results that we thought we would get because, again, you compare yourself to the rare cases of people sharing 6, 7 figures made really quickly, but with them, there are thousands and thousands who made nothing. And the second piece is that everything else that was working for us got stagnated as well. And I'll give you an example. So when we collected more reviews on TikTok Shop, when we reached out to our customers and our influencers and affiliates, they helped us, but then we didn't collect these reviews on Amazon. So our Amazon reviews got stagnant. Our attention of optimizing our listing on TikTok Shop or working with affiliates and influencers to drive on Shopify, now all this attention went on starting something new on TikTok Shop. So whatever we had basically got less attention, less time, less resources from our influencer program, from our Amazon listing, from reviews. And this is where we decided to put a pause on TikTok Shop because I realized that the excitement that we'd launched this product on TikTok Shop and it will just go from 0 to 100K a day, probably not going to happen as fast. It can happen with the right attention, but it will also come at a cost of taking this attention from what was already working. But when we got into TikTok Shop, I thought that we already did everything that we could. Our influencer program was working really well. It was scaling up. Our Amazon went from 2K to 10K a month. So there is nothing more that we can do there. But when I decided to focus on what was already working, and instead of thinking, what else do I need to do? I thought, what already worked? What can I do more of? And where can I get better at? So even when it feels like progress is super slow, this is where I said to myself, if I had all the time in the world, and these are the only thing that I could have done, like I could only do Shopify, Amazon, influencers, whatever we have right now. And I have more time in my hand because I had, and this is why I wanted to explore different things, because it's not just about the time. Even if you have the time, it takes mental energy and it takes space in your brain to think about creative ideas for new things that you don't have anyone to guide you with. You need to learn it from scratch. So when I made that decision, suddenly our Amazon went from stagnating in 10K to 30K just 2.5 months later, then 50K 3 or 4 months later, because we focused on what we already had and we built on top of that momentum. Our Shopify sales went from stagnating in 10K to 20K to 30K and 40. And this is how our business grew from about 20K a month to now $1 million run rate. But it wasn't because we started anything new. It's because we doubled down on what was already working. We had our advocates funnel that got influencers to recommend our products. And we thought that it was working because it was. It was making sales. It was profitable. It was scaling up. But when I decided to look at the individual relationships after we had a system in place and say, hey, how can I make this even better? How can we improve this message and this script? And how can I speak to that V8 so it would be 5, 10, 15% better? And then things started compounding. We had a really good process for collecting reviews on Amazon. So now how can we improve it even further? How can we automate things? How can we do it at scale? This is where things started really compounding because we were building on the momentum that we already had. But when I started on TikTok Shop, I thought that we didn't have that momentum. And that is the trap, because our brain tricks us to think that we're not getting what we want because we need to start something new. But in reality, it just tricks us. So it chases the dopamine from the new opportunity, from the shiny object, from comparing yourself to rare cases of people sharing screenshots and whatever. And I always say to my clients inside Massive Influence, to the Massive Influence founders, whenever I start working with them, whenever they feel like, hey, maybe I need to start this new thing, maybe I need to do this, we're not growing here or there, I always look, before we talk about what else they can do, always analyze two things. One, what's already working, even if it's really small. And two, what assets do we already have to work with? Assets like reviews and an email list and influencer relationships and affiliates. So before we think, okay, maybe I need to go from Instagram influencers to YouTube and TikTok Shop, let's look at what's already worked. Okay, influencers on Instagram, you have these relationships with these people and it works well. Okay, how can we make these relationships better? How can we get more relationships? Let's not look at YouTube and start exploring there. And this is just a random example, but it spills over to decisions like, hey, maybe I need to start ads or TikTok Shop, or maybe I need to launch a new product, or maybe that would solve all my problems. But in reality, it's just denial because we don't want to do what feels boring, because when things are working, they feel boring. So when people get stuck and they think they're not moving fast enough, they think that they've done everything that they could. But when they focus on what's already working, even if it's really small, and what assets have they already created, and then come up with a plan on how to compound those wins and those assets to create bigger ones. So I'll give you another example. Now we have way more reviews on Amazon. We have more influencers talking about us. We have more subscribers. Our Shopify is way more optimized. Now launching on TikTok Shop makes way more sense because people are going to find us in TikTok Shop. They're going to search on Google. They're going to see all the reviews. They're going to search on Amazon. They're going to see way more reviews and more people buying our product. So now everything would work better. But Imagine that if we launch on TikTok Shop and we have 17 reviews, and then we have 98 reviews on Amazon and a 4.1 star rating, whatever, that's one thing. But if we launch on TikTok Shop when we have 300 reviews and we have 1,000 people who bought our product in the past month, and people see all these social proof, guess what would happen? People would either buy it on TikTok Shop, more people would buy it on TikTok Shop or Amazon or both, and things will start compounding way fast. When we focus on our relationships with influencers, guess what? Many of them have TikTok Shop. Many of them are on TikTok Shop. So now we can leverage that and say, hey, now let's launch together on TikTok Shop and let's have these plans. So it's about compounding those wins that you already have and now building on top of them to create an even bigger result. So whenever you feel like maybe I need to chase this new opportunity, or maybe things are not working as fast as I want, sometimes the solution and the answer is to go after a new opportunity. That's the right decision. But it takes tuning down the volume of those emotional triggers that trick you to go after an opportunity simply because it feels exciting and new and not boring. But dealing with those boring things will actually compound way faster than playing whack-a-mole and chasing that new thing that will take A to Z so fast. I believe the fastest way to get results is to stop chasing. The fastest way to get results and start doing the boring stuff repeatedly over and over and over until things happen. And when I decide to chase a new opportunity, now I have a system for it, or I have a rule for it. I don't just learn it from scratch from YouTube videos. I speak to people who have already done it. I pay people who already have this experience so I can cut my learning curve. And then the cost of going after that opportunity is not as high because someone else already paid that cost. And now I can shorten the gap and I can pay them for their time and for their experience. And I can go after that opportunity with less attention building it and less attention on learning it, and more attention into how do I integrate it into my business. And I have experts that I work with in my personal life. I have a personal trainer and I have a coach for this and for that. And I have advisors in my business. And this is the way that whenever you want to chase something new, you simply ask the people that you surround yourself with who have already done that. So thank you for listening or watching. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed recording it.